What's going on, fam? It's your boy Papa Swolio back for another video, and I am back from a chest and back pump. I feel really good, but I wanted to make this video because Game of Thrones just ended. The entire series is over, and what a train wreck this season was. Now, I'm not going to get into all the nitty-gritty details. There are plenty of channels that break down every scene and all that stuff. This is just my response, my feelings on it. So there may be some spoilers here as well. If you haven't seen the last episode, you might want to just turn this video off. But I think they just rushed it. They rushed it. And without going into all the details, like I mentioned, after the books ended and they started going off on their own script, I don't know why they started shortening the seasons. I don't know why we didn't get 10 episodes. I don't know why they didn't flesh this out for even another season. Why would they cut this story short? Why would they rush the endings of these characters? They left so many things like just open-ended. We didn't find any closure with some of our favorite characters. We didn't find out why Bran had this magic ability and why that was important. The whole White Walker story just freaking ended in the third episode. People cared about that. People cared about the White Walkers. People cared about the magic and the mystery behind all that. They just wrote it off and no one ever fucking talked about it again for the rest of the season. That was it. They're just gone. It's over. All that build up for 8 seasons, all that build up, just nothing. It just ends. It ends. It literally ends. Now, I'm sure that HBO did that so they can make money off their series about how they got started in The Long Night, I believe it's called. Fuck you, HBO. I'm not going to watch your additional garbage. And if it's not absolutely fantastically amazing, no one's going to care. Because you should have put as much effort as possible into this season and into this series, because then you can keep on making spin-offs. But now that you screwed the audience so hardcore, now that the writers just completely left, just ended the story, it seemed like they were just bored of doing Game of Thrones and decided to just end everything. We don't know anything about all the other houses, what's going on with Westeros. They just all met. We see a bunch of people at that final meeting in the final episode with Tyrion on trial, and everyone's just there. It's like, oh, what's up, people that we haven't seen in fucking forever? And barely anyone says anything. It's just, they just wrap things up. They wrap shit up. Cersei is one of the most evil people in the entire show. She's been doing bad shit for 8 fucking seasons, and then she just gets rubble on her. No revenge, no real comeback from everyone that she screwed over. Like, her story just ended. Her and Jaime just die together. And that's it. I'm not even that upset that Dany went Mad Queen. My issue with the writing is that it just happened very, very quickly. Flip the switch, and people will say, well, look at, she crucified all the masters and she burned people in this, but she freaked out and locked her dragons up. Locked her dragons up when that guy brought the charred remains of his daughter to her, I believe it was in Marine, and she locked her dragons up. She locked them up. She locked up her children because they murdered a child, an innocent child. Yet she goes through and just roasts everyone alive. It's too much of a sharp turn. They could have taken that over 10 episodes and gradually done that this season, or at least, gave a little bit more of a transition. But it was just more like tying off loose ends, but leaving so many more open. Why was Bran important? To be the king? Doesn't make any sense. Tyrion just became this dumb lump of what? He just became bumbling and just a dead character. He was one of the best characters. They just ruined so many characters because of the writing. The only one that really didn't get ruined, the only one or two that really didn't get screwed over were Sansa and Arya. But they destroyed Brienne when she was crying over Jaime and all that shit. It's sad. It's sad because these actors invested so much time in their careers. And it's sad because the ending of a show is so important. The ending is so important because we're gonna forget all the good that the show had. Everyone's just gonna remember Game of Thrones as a fucking bomb because the ending sucked. That's the issue. It casts a horrible shadow over just amazing, amazing cinematography, amazing writing, amazing acting, just an amazing show. And I just can't enthusiastically recommend it to anyone now because it just ends like shit. You want it to end on the highest possible note. You want to absolutely crush it. Breaking Bad did this very well. They went in and they ramped up and they freaking ended it. They ended it before it went too long. This show did not go too long. They cut it too short. They didn't flesh out the stories. Remember just before this season how everyone was so amped up and there was red carpet and they're on top of the world. And now with that petition being like almost 1.5 million signatures to redo season 8, which will never happen. But it just shows how many people have banded together to show their dislike and their hatred for this season. And it sucks that, first off, it sucks that these writers are going to go ruin Star Wars now, as if that wasn't ruined already. But it just goes to show that the content is what matters. The content is what matters. I will say that the last episode, the one that aired last night, episode 6, was shot so wonderfully well. It was just gorgeous to watch. You were like awestruck, and it almost made you forget about how bad the writing was. It almost did. I was literally watching this and wow, it was shot so well that it made it a little bit better. But the writing, I would rather have had better writing than these long shots of the dragon. Like, ooh, that's a really nice poster. You know, it doesn't save bad writing. So if they combined the two, it could have been one of the best endings to any show. And they really took the pussy way out. Really fucking weak. I don't think anyone really cared about the Iron Throne. We all cared about the White Walkers. We all cared about that story. They should have done the Iron Throne and this whole thing first and then attacked the White Walkers, like made that a delay and done a whole season on the White Walkers. Show us that it's important. Don't just end it like that and ignore it the rest. They didn't fucking even talk about it. They didn't talk about the White Walkers at all. They didn't give you any backstory. Why? Why were they drawing spirals everywhere? Just because there was a spiral at that freaking tree? Like, oh, that's their symbol? Oh, he wants to cover the world in darkness? You know, he wants there to be the eternal dark night? Why? Why does he want that? For 8 fucking years, we all wondered why he's coming, why he's attacking, why is he coming to Westeros? Why? He's coming after Bran because he wants eternal darkness. Why? Bran, what are you seeing in your visions? What have you found out? Nothing? And then when everyone knows that Jon is the heir to the throne, they just freaking ban him to the north? That's it? At least he saw a ghost again, but that's it? That's it? You're gonna treat Jon like shit? He killed the fucking queen that roasted thousands of innocent people, and you're going to put him in prison. Oh yeah, he's the bad one, sure. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's so goddamn dumb. The writing was so bad. And it's very easy for someone like myself or all these other people making videos to just sit back and just make videos and blast and be like, that sucked, oh that sucked, oh that sucked. But when I say sucked, it doesn't mean that I could have done better. I mean, it's a hard job to write, to organize, to shoot. I mean, it was a masterpiece in terms of filming and just CGI. It was great. It was a beautiful thing to watch, but the writing was garbage. It was like a beautiful painting of a fucking pile of trash. I don't want to look at that. It's really well done, but it's a pile of garbage. Like, what am I looking at? It's a beautiful painting. It's really accurate depiction of garbage. So there was no substance there. It just goes to show that the content is what matters. So this gives you maybe a little feedback or a little bit of encouragement for those of you that don't have great cameras, that don't think you're the best at filming, that the best at angles, and you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel. Just have good content, say good things, give people value, and they will like it because the content is good. It just goes to show that a great film, like visually, can't save bad writing and a bad story. So that's my take on it. I'm really disappointed. Everyone's angry because they're disappointed because we had high hopes for this. This should have been given more respect. If they took all the seasons to 10 episodes and they really did their best, but it wasn't quite the ending, it's like, all right, well, you didn't write it. You didn't have the pen in your hand. You couldn't write this because it wasn't your job. But to see this and see how they left so many things open because they didn't have time to do it in 6 episodes, well, why were there only 6? Why did you not do 10? 4 more episodes, you could have covered all these other things. All of them. All of them. I think if it was 10 episodes, the stuff that you would have to fill in for the character arc, for tying off loose ends, I think 10 episodes would have been more than enough. All the other seasons, they were more than enough. How come they fucked it up so bad? Why would they put this out as their final closing chapter of one of the greatest shows ever made? It's just fucking bad, and it's just really disappointing. Anyway, drop your comments down below. I want to know what you have to say. What do you think about this season? What do you think about everything that I talked about? What are your thoughts on the final episode? You know, I wish I could recommend this show to someone, but without a good ending, it's really hard to, hey, get involved, get really emotionally invested, and invest a lot of time into watching this show, and just to know that that's the ending. So unfortunately, that's what we got, but what are your thoughts? Put them down below. I hope you like this video. If you haven't yet subscribed, subscribe. If you like the beard, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Whoa, coming at me like that, like whoa. Coming at me like that, like whoa. Coming at me like that, like whoa. Coming at me like that, like much that I care, but I don't. And I swear if you want, we can flow, coming ready for the smoke. Murder, she wrote, but I don't even dare. I got places to go, coming ready for the show. Sacred the GOAT, we got royal affairs. We gon' win on the low, coming ready for the glow. You taking notes, have a seat, take a chair. You may think that we